Hey there, have you ever wondered what you might be able to achieve if you tapped into the limitless potential of your mind's natural intuition? I'll give you an example. Several years ago, I was in South Korea fundraising for various charities, and I went to multiple cities like Busan, Daegu, Seoul, learned a bit of Korean, 안녕하십니까, Jimnimniga, Yongguk Saram, and met a lot of lovely people and ate some very excellent street food, some really tasty street food actually. And there was this one day when my team leader dropped me off in another city, and then he went back to our volunteer base, and I had a goal for the day of how much I wanted to fundraise, like how much money I wanted to make for the day. And I also had a goal of a train that I wanted to get back, like a time that I wanted to get back by. But I ended up missing the last train because I was just a smidgen away from accomplishing my financial goal for the day, and I wanted to stay out longer to accomplish it. Because I felt like I wanted to keep that promise, But then I missed the last train, and instead of inconveniencing the team leader to ask him to come to pick me up, because I didn't want to do that, I felt like I wanted to take responsibility for getting back by myself, since I decided to stay out longer. And I knew generally the direction that the other city was in, because I remembered where he dropped me off and the street that we came from. But I didn't know the route. I didn't know exactly where the volunteer base was. I didn't know the name of the street. But I decided to walk back, and instead at each junction I simply asked myself, I asked my, you might say, intuition, but we'll get into what that actually is in a moment. Shall I go this way, yes or no? All right, whenever I reached a junction or fork in the road where I could have gone one of two directions, I asked the question, shall I go this way, yes or no? And I always went with the first one that came up before I started to think about it. And there's a reason for that, which I'll get into in another video as well. But can you imagine, that walk took me 2 hours. It ended up being a 2-hour walk, and I actually ended up getting back to the volunteer base at the end of that 2-hour walk by asking this very simple question, binary choice, shall I go this way, yes or no? And you can imagine how many other routes I could have gone on that my way back to the city. And so you might think the intuition is something you talk to, but it's actually a sensory organ that you use to communicate with a source of information or actionable intelligence. In this example, I used it to communicate with my conscience, which you are most familiar with, is represented by a compass, which has that north and south, right? It's a binary choice. Okay, so this is just one example of how it can be applied in a very significant manner. Okay, so conscience is not like something to ignore.